The morning sun bathes the New York City studio of Good Morning America in a warm glow, but inside, the atmosphere is electric with tension. Tom Cruise, the Hollywood icon known for his megawatt smile and high-octane blockbusters, strides onto the set to promote his latest Mission Impossible installment. At 62, he's still a force of nature, his charisma undimmed by time, though his recent outspokenness on personal beliefs has stirred controversy. Opposite him sits George Stephanopoulos, the seasoned journalist and co-anchor, whose measured demeanor masks a sharp intellect honed by years in politics and media. The interview begins cordially, with George asking about the film's death-defying stunts, a topic Tom navigates with practiced enthusiasm. But the conversation takes a sharp turn when George pivots to Tom's recent comments on X about mental health and pharmaceutical companies, a subject that's reignited debates from his 2005 Today Show clash with Matt Lauer. George, sensing an opportunity to probe deeper, presses Tom on his views, questioning whether his stance dismisses scientific consensus. Tom's smile tightens, his eyes narrowing as he leans forward, defending his beliefs with a passion that borders on defiance. The exchange grows heated, with George's calm but pointed questions clashing against Tom's increasingly animated responses. The studio crew, sensing a brewing storm, exchanges nervous glances as the live audience shifts uncomfortably. Tom accuses the media of twisting his words, his voice rising, while George counters with data, maintaining his cool but refusing to back down. The tension peaks when Tom, frustrated, slams his hand on the table, declaring, "You're not listening, George." The outburst shocks the audience, and social media erupts, with clips of the moment spreading like wildfire on X. Hashtags like #TomCruiseGma and #Stephanopoulos trend within minutes, as viewers take sides, some cheering Tom's boldness, others praising George's restraint. Back in the studio, producers scramble to regain control, cutting to a commercial break as Tom's team huddles around him. George, unruffled, adjusts his notes, aware that the interview has just become a national talking point. The break does little to cool the tension, as whispers circulate among the crew about whether Tom will continue or walk off. The incident, already being dissected online, threatens to overshadow the movie promotion, turning a routine morning show segment into a cultural flashpoint. Tom, a master of public relations, knows the stakes, but his conviction drives him forward, setting the stage for a dramatic escalation. The nation watches, captivated by this clash of titans, one a Hollywood legend, the other a media stalwart, each refusing to yield in a battle of words and wills. As Good Morning America returns from the break, the studio is a powder keg, with every eye on Tom Cruise and George Stephanopoulos. The producers, caught off guard by the earlier outburst, have urged both men to steer the conversation back to safer ground, but the air crackles with unresolved tension. Tom, visibly steeled, attempts to pivot to his film, describing the grueling training for a stunt involving a skydive from a burning helicopter. But George, ever the journalist, isn't ready to let the earlier topic go. He circles back, asking Tom to clarify his stance on mental health treatment, framing it as a public responsibility for someone of his influence. Tom's jaw tightens, and he launches into a fervent defense, arguing that the media oversimplifies complex issues and ignores alternative approaches to wellness. His voice, though controlled, carries an edge, and he gestures emphatically, drawing the audience into his intensity. George, maintaining his trademark composure, counters with the question about the potential harm of discouraging medical intervention, citing studies on mental health outcomes. The exchange escalates rapidly, with Tom accusing George of pushing a corporate narrative and George responding with a rare flash of frustration, suggesting Tom's rhetoric could mislead fans. The live audience gasps as Tom stands, his chair scraping loudly, and declares, "I'm done with this ambush." The director signals for another break, but not before Tom storms off the set, leaving George to address the stunned viewers alone. The internet explodes, with X posts capturing every angle of the walkout, from Tom's clenched fists to George's raised eyebrow. Conservative commentators rally behind Tom, framing the incident as a stand against media bias, while others criticize his inability to handle tough questions. The Good Morning America team, now in crisis mode, issues a brief statement on X, emphasizing their commitment to open dialogue while sidestepping the specifics. Behind the scenes, Tom's publicist works frantically to spin the narrative, arranging for him to address the incident on a friendlier platform later that day. George, meanwhile, faces pressure from ABC executives to smooth things over, though his calm handling of the clash earns him praise from journalism peers. The incident becomes a case study in the collision of celebrity influence and media scrutiny, with memes of Tom's table slam and George's unflappable demeanor flooding social media. The story, now a viral phenomenon, raises questions about the role of public figures in sensitive debates and the line between journalism and provocation. As the day unfolds, the nation waits to see how Tom will respond, knowing his next move could either diffuse the controversy or fan the flames further. The fallout from Tom Cruise's dramatic exit from Good Morning America dominates headlines, with news outlets and social media dissecting every moment of the clash. X is ablaze with reactions, from fans defending Tom's passion to critics slamming his perceived arrogance. Clips of the interview, now viewed millions of times, spark debates about whether George Stephanopoulos crossed a line or simply did his job as a journalist. Conservative influencers amplify the narrative of Tom as a victim of a gotcha interview, while progressive voices argue that public figures must face accountability, especially on issues like mental health. The controversy takes on a life of its own, with late-night hosts weaving the incident into their monologues, joking about Tom's mission, impossible to stay calm. Meanwhile, Tom, holed up in a Manhattan hotel with his team, strategizes his next move. He records a video for his X account, speaking directly to fans, acknowledging his heated reaction but doubling down on his beliefs, framing the incident as a stand for personal conviction. The video garners millions of views, with supporters praising his authenticity and detractors calling it a deflection. Back at ABC, George and the Good Morning America team face their own reckoning, as the network grapples with the PR fallout. George, in a rare on-air moment the next day, addresses the incident with measured grace, emphasizing the importance of tough questions while expressing regret for the interview's abrupt end. Behind closed doors, however, tensions run high, with some producers questioning whether George pushed too hard. The incident prompts broader discussions about the role of morning shows in an era of polarized media, with analysts noting that such platforms, once lighthearted, now often serve as battlegrounds for cultural debates. Tom's team, sensing an opportunity, books him on a podcast known for its friendly audience, where he recounts the clash in a controlled environment, winning back some public goodwill. The podcast episode trends on X, with listeners lauding Tom's candor, though skeptics point out his selective narrative. The bank incident, though unrelated, briefly resurfaces in online discussions, as users draw parallels between Caroline Leavitt's professionalism and Tom's volatility, highlighting the varied ways public figures navigate conflict. As the story evolves, it becomes a mirror for America's divided psyche, with Tom and George embodying opposing forces: celebrity versus journalism, passion versus restraint. The public, hungry for resolution, awaits a potential follow-up, wondering if reconciliation or further escalation lies ahead. Days after the Good Morning America clash, the story begins to settle, but its ripples continue to shape public discourse. Tom Cruise, ever the master of reinvention, shifts focus back to his mission, impossible film, attending a high-profile premiere where he charms the crowd, sidestepping questions about the incident with his trademark grin. His team's damage control pays off, as box office projections remain strong, and fans on X rally with hashtags like #TeamTom, framing the controversy as a media overreach. George Stephanopoulos, meanwhile, returns to his anchor desk, his reputation as a steady journalist intact, though some viewers accuse him of bias, citing his Democratic Party roots from the 1990s. ABC issues a formal statement, reaffirming their commitment to fair interviews, but behind the scenes, executives review their guest vetting process, wary of future flare-ups. The incident sparks a broader conversation on X and beyond, with users debating the ethics of confrontational journalism and the responsibility of celebrities to engage thoughtfully. Some argue that Tom's walkout was a justified response to an unfair line of questioning, while others see it as a failure to handle scrutiny, especially on a platform as visible as Good Morning America. The controversy also prompts reflection within the entertainment industry, with actors and publicists re-evaluating how to navigate politically charged interviews in a hyper-connected world. Tom, in a rare introspective moment, privately acknowledges to his inner circle that he might have overreacted, but he remains unapologetic in public, believing his stance resonates with his base. George, unfazed by the backlash, continues to anchor with his usual poise, earning quiet respect from colleagues for not shying away from tough topics. The incident fades from the headlines, replaced by newer scandals, but its lessons linger. It becomes a case study in media training programs, with experts citing it as an example of how quickly a routine interview can spiral in the age of viral content. For Tom, the clash reinforces his image as a passionate, if polarizing, figure, while George solidifies his role as a journalist unafraid to challenge power. The nation, ever divided, moves on, but the memory of that fiery morning at Tom's hand slamming the table, George's steady Gaza remains a vivid snapshot of a culture grappling with truth, ego, and the power of the live broadcast.